Welcome into KSO. I'm Mason Voth. That is Drew Galloway. Tuesday, we are just a few days away from kickoff, the little Friday night game for K-State and Arizona. The Wildcats are 1-2. And no, not the Arizona Wildcats. You're like, aren't they supposed to be the crappy team named Wildcats in the Big 12? Yes, they are supposed to be. They're not, though. There's a team that's worse than them. K-State is playing like a very bad football team right now. And I think, unfortunately, they're just legitimately bad. I mean, saying that they go 5-7 at this point in time feels generous. Like I haven't seen anything in the last two games that makes me believe that 5-7 would even be a certainty. And it's amazing that this team in particular could be in this position. One of the reasons why I think that they are in this position is because, well, we know that the defense is doing nothing to help the cause. The defense is why they lost the Iowa State game. The defense gave up 35 points to an FCS opponent who wasn't very good the year before, and the defense couldn't get off the field against Army. Now, look, if you want to take the Chris Kleiman approach to it and say, well, they were on the field for basically, I think I totaled it up like over 23 straight minutes of game time because K-State's offense didn't go out there because they had the kick return mixed in there and then the onside kick in there. Okay, that's great. I don't know, get off the field like that first time, maybe when you faced a couple of fourth downs and like you got multiple opportunities. Army wasn't hitting big plays on you. All you had to do is just make sure that one time you didn't give up at least like 3 yards on a play. And K-State wasn't capable of doing that. Too many first downs that resulted in 5 yards, and then Army knew we got 3 downs to work with to get 5 more yards, and they were always able to do it because basically in that scenario, you pretty much just have to fall forward. So it's not great. But one specific of the area of the defense that stands out to me the most is that the defense is not taking the ball away. Now, we know against Iowa State, there were a couple of fumbles aided undoubtedly by the fact that it was wet weather.
One, I would say, was not forced. The other one was definitely forced.
First one was a gift. The second one was Rocco Beck's best impression of Brock Purdy or Max Duggan, and just flinging that ball out there and letting it hang loose. And then you got one turnover forced in the game against North Dakota. Cody Stufflebean on the sack knocked the ball free, and K-State recovered. And then against Army, no turnovers. Most notably, though, no interceptions in the first 3 games of the season for K-State. It's the first time since 2015 that has occurred. So you can go back and go down the long list of games in that stretch. And honestly, you can go back over 20 years, and this is only the second instance where K-State has made it past the first 3 games without an interception. So 2015 was the only other year that happened. It took until game 4, that road game at Oklahoma State that we talked about, that K-State came so close to actually winning. And, you think about a team that went 6-6 and lost 6 straight games. That was the first of 6 straight losses for K-State. How does the season look if you don't screw up in that game and you find a way to win it? Look, that team, we talked about it. They weren't as good or talented as a lot of other K-State teams since then, but boy, they fought hard. And the very next week, they battled with number 2 TCU and lost by a touchdown and had the lead at halftime. Like that
they
team
were cruising at halftime.
Yeah,
not even had the lead. Like
that team never quit. That team fought hard, and they just didn't have the horses. So it makes sense why maybe didn't have a pick until game number 4. You can also see there that K-State was 75th in interception rate in the country last year, and they only have 3 picks in the last 8 games. That puts them in the bottom 15 of interception rate over that time frame. Not very good, because if you are going to be as bendable as this defense has been and open to, oh, look, we're holding you to, like 3 yards of play, whatever, that's typically good, but you have to be able to make sure that you are making a handful of big plays here and there. And if you're not getting off the field and teams aren't scared of facing you on 4th down, you need to at least have some fear that you might be able to take the ball away. K-State's not doing that when the ball goes in the air. It is taking unfortunate situations for the other team to lose the football, where they're much more random because, as we've talked about, the 3 fumbles that K-State's recovered this year, the ball hasn't gone to anybody else except for the quarterback in those scenarios, really. And that's not a given that you're going to get those opportunities. Like, to me, that comes across as just much more of a fluke and not repeatable. Why do you think K-State hasn't been able to take the ball away when it's in the air over the last handful of games? And really going back to last season, we talked about how it was a problem. I mean, going into the year, I was like, there's no way K-State can have as few interceptions as they had last season. It just seems impossible. But here they are. They're on a way worse pace than they were last season.
Yeah, it is a little bit fascinating. And like, I don't really have like a great fix. Some of it, I think, is how they're playing, especially corners. I mean, you've pointed it out a few times where on like 3rd and 8s, where corners will be like 6 or 7 yards off the ball. It's like, what are you doing there? But the more concerning thing, I think, is outside of the Donovan McIntosh play against Iowa State, which I think he might pick that if Quay Moss isn't like in his vision, in his sight.
You know, I would give you that, except that we have 2 more games since then, and it's like this team just can't do it. So I don't think we can give him a pass for it anymore.
No, I was going to say, outside of that play, they haven't even been close to an interception. Like, there's more times where an opponent has caught the ball, and I'm like, who in the hell is supposed to be defending him? Then like, oh, that was like a good play in coverage. Like, they were right there. Like Marion Fortenberry had a pass breakup against North Dakota. That was probably the best play on a ball all season. After that, like, I don't think that there has been like a second best play on a ball, because the Rocco Becht play, I mean, that was kind of right to Donovan McIntosh. So like, it wasn't like he made a play on the ball, but I think it's some of just, you're not in the right position. And it's kind of a two-way street on how turnovers work sometimes, and especially interceptions. Sometimes you just got to get more pressure on the quarterback. Like, they've been better this year, I think. Army game, weird. I don't really hold a lot of like not getting a sack or not getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback against Army, because you're just so concerned to stop the run that there's not a lot of opportunities. And Cody Stufflebean on that last 2-minute drive was so close to 2 sacks, but just couldn't get there in time. They've been better about getting pressure on the quarterback this year from last year, but I still don't think that they're getting enough pressure to like where you force an overthrow and the ball goes to a defender like that. That's what happened against Arizona when Noah Fifita threw an interception last year. Happened to Jalen Daniels in the KU game, where you forced pressure, got an overthrow. But like, it's a kind of a two-way street. You need both, but the corners and the safeties get a lot more of the blame for me than the defensive line, because they're doing their part in getting some pressure, but it doesn't really matter if you're playing 8 yards off the ball.
Well, and so that's like where I would say, you know, obviously they just faced Army. Army didn't put the ball in the air a ton. They're not going to. So some might say, well, that's kind of like cherry picking a little bit, because that's not like facing a full third game of pass attempts. That's true in some ways, but I think because of how we've seen them choose to defend passes, you can say, you know, like the Zayshawn Rich play that gave up the first down conversion on, I think it was Army's last drive before the half, that they ultimately scored the touchdown on to make it 13-7. The idea of where he was set up at, and the fact that he wasn't even in the ballpark of the receiver who could catch the ball at the sticks or just beyond them and still have space behind him, kind of illustrates the problem, is that they're not even seeming to put themselves in position to make these plays. As you just said, like, the only real play on the ball all season happened one time against North Dakota. Marion Fortenberry had it.
And like, you could argue that was probably pass interference, because like he got there a little early.
Oh no, don't do that to what I'm calling the only good play of the year so far by the defense, by the secondary at least. If you are looking at how some of this ends up working out, K-State on the season only credited with 8 pass breakups by PFF. And you can shrink that number down, because Two of those are credited to linebackers, Austin Romaine and Des Purnell. So really only 6 times has a DB impacted the flight of the ball this season. Most notably missing from that would be VJ Payne, who doesn't have one this season.
VJ Payne should go on like a missing poster. Like he has been, I think, the most disappointing player this season by far.
Has to be. Yeah, he hasn't even been noticeable in these games. And he needed to be your second best player on defense behind Austin Romaine. And by the way, Austin Romaine is living up and still being, just as good as you would want him to be. And, overall, like, it's Avery. I mean, he's probably third. Like, it would be between him and Jace Brown that you would be like penciling in there. Dylan Edwards probably, but obviously hasn't been available. Like, it's a big problem right now for K-State. And, I name another team, Drew. Let's just on the fly here, go try to find a team that you think might be comparable to K-State right now to compare their pass breakups this year. I don't even care about the interceptions. I just want to see how are teams affecting balls in the air.
So comparable to what K-State is right now or what they should be?
We could do both, but like right now, a team that you think is in a similar position as K-State where they've kind of disappointed from what they should be.
I
mean, do you want Arizona State? Like, they didn't play great against their FCS opponent. They just lost.
Arizona State would make some sense. Some of this is also going to be kind of skewed, could be skewed a little bit because the other teams only played 2 games. But Arizona State makes some sense.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see here where Arizona State is. I mean, if we're talking about comparability, Arizona State only has 5 this season, so they'd be right on track there to be right around where K-State is after 3.
Where's Iowa State at?
Well, let's go clone up here and see where they sit currently. Iowa State on the season is sitting at Iowa State's at 6. So,
so the other team that I thought of was just a team kind of like K-State, a lot of new faces in the secondary. Where's KU at?
Yeah. Oh, but also keep in mind here real quick that an interception doesn't count as a pass breakup. So Iowa State has 3 picks on the season. So in terms of impacting balls in the air, they have 9 of them in total this year. And just on the other front of that, Arizona State would be in the same boat as K-State because they are also without a pick this year. So in the same. Kansas, they currently sit at they have 6 breakups and 2 picks this season.
I think that the picks are a bigger problem because if you can't get off the field on 3rd and 4th down, you better be able to get a turnover or get some kind of thing to happen that's positive. Like you pointed out in musings today on KSO that like the defense is essentially like bleeding out the game because they're not getting off the field on 3rd or 4th down, and they're also not creating turnovers. So it's like they're just kind of there, and that is the biggest problem. And it took a drop by Army on 4th down for opponents to not be, I think it would be 11 of 12 on 4th down this season. Like that is unbelievable through 3 games that teams are even 10 of 12 on K-State. And I think that again, huge issue because if you're not forcing turnovers and you're not getting off the field, what do you do well defensively?
Yeah. And that would be the other thing that you look at with these other teams, and maybe some of the numbers are comparable, but you would certainly go out and look and say, okay, where is their defense setting up and they're able to get off the field, and maybe, you're not breaking a pass up, but when it's 3rd and 7,
you're getting a sack.
You're getting a sack, or you're making the only throw that can be completed happen 3 yards shy of the 1st down marker. And so then you have a guy that's right there ready to make a tackle. Because that's just the thing that I go back to on the Rich play, where it's like, even if he catches that ball 2 yards short of the 1st down marker, Zayshawn Rich isn't getting to him until he crosses for a 1st down. That's where it's probably a little bit of a positioning thing. in these situations, yes, it all comes back to the coaching because you're in charge of these guys. It's on you to get the most out of them. But also, I think it just comes down to like guys have to want to be motivated to be in the right spot or be willing to do the right type of things. And it feels like, you talk about VJ Payne, like I I wrote about it, I think in grades that'll come out at some point today from the game, and basically just looking at the current situation and saying like he was one of the guys on defense that either looked like he couldn't get to the right spot or was disinterested in doing the things that you needed to do on Saturday defensively. And I don't know how you fix that. Like this goes back to what we talked about yesterday, and I think the problem with this team for the most part is not tangible, it's intangible. Like maybe you could say that the offensive line may just not have the talent right now to be as good as they need to be. But even then, I don't know that they should be as bad as they've been to this point in time. Defensively, a lot of these guys are players that have played well at times in their career and were, mostly big parts of the defense last season that you would expect to step up a little bit more, and you're just not getting it.
No, and that is where the issue happens. Like VJ Payne got beat on the last play of the half because he sold out for the run and didn't cover the tight end, and the tight end was wide open. Like that is like the little things that Chris Kleiman was just going irate about after the North Dakota game. And that happened at a very crucial part of the game on Saturday night. Like we've talked about a little bit about if Army doesn't score on that last play or that last drive, I think that K-State at least keeps Army within arm's length at all times. It might not look like totally pretty, but I think that they keep them away and end up winning the game. Like that's one little play that ends up having a huge impact on the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'll ask you this. What did you make of the one trick play that Army hit in the game where was it Short that got away from everybody and ended up having
Short through it? Yeah.
Short through it. Okay. Yeah. I did tell Mitch on PowerCat game day, I said his position's basically playmaker because they're going to give it to him in a lot of ways. Didn't expect him to burn him with the pass. From my point of view, I was a little confused as to why Quay Moss decided to bail on the receiver that just kept kind of making his way down the field when there were 5 purple jerseys at or behind the line of scrimmage that if it was a run play, probably will be able to make a stop before you get there if you're Quay Moss.
It was fascinating because they showed it on the replay like multiple times after that play was hit. And like Quay Moss kind of just let the receiver go. Like the receiver didn't even really hide that it was going to be a trick play because he didn't wait and run a route. Like he ran the route right away, and Quay Moss just kind of let him go. It was the most obvious trick play I think of all time, and still worked. Brought back very bad memories of the Navy game in 2019 where they did something similar. But yeah, there are some people where they went right after Noah Short, and I don't blame them because they were closer to Noah Short, and Noah Short is Army's best player on offense, like by far. Like you called him he is the playmaker. I don't blame some of them, but the guys in the secondary, like you let a receiver just run right by you, and you didn't really do anything. Like if Noah Short had any like quarterback experience, that was a touchdown.
Yeah,
because the receiver had to wait on the ball.
And here's what I would add to this. So I'm going back and I'm looking at the play that Navy ran in the Liberty Bowl. Same type of deal happens where I'm trying to determine who it even was out there on the side, but Navy ends up getting the play started. They pitched out to the right, and I think, let's see, would that have been who was number 4 on that 2019 team? Was that Wayne Jones?
Yeah, I think that was Wayne Jones.
And then 15 would have been Walter Neal.
Yeah.
Both of them just crashed down immediately and just accept, oh, yeah, this is going to be a run. And the Navy wide receiver just runs straight down the field, doesn't even have to fake a move of any kind. And he's wide open. He gets hit. And obviously, Navy goes on to win. And that's where, when you're playing teams like this and you know that something like this is going to come up at some point in the week, like Chris Kleiman talked about it, you should err on the side of extra caution. And just when you think, hey, this guy looks like he's kind of going to keep going down the field, he's not even making an attempt to block us or make us think that he's blocking, we need to follow him. Because at the end of the day, these teams are going to try to bleed you out anyways, like Army did. And so your best bet in a lot of these scenarios is, give them an arbitrary place where they have to stop, which would be the goal line. Don't let them make these plays and get behind you. Like, that's where I would question a little bit more of the philosophy and the decision making that went into this. And then that's also where you have to go into, were the players instructed to do one thing and they failed to do it, or was it overlooked and this was something that maybe could have been done to prevent some of this from happening and been an instruction point? Because that's what I go back to on the onside kick thing. Chris Kleiman, after the game, tried saying that K-State was ready for it, and then you look at it and you see all five guys start moving backwards the second the kicker starts running towards the ball. Like, that doesn't look like a crew that was ready for a possible onside kick or something nefarious to happen.
Yeah, I think that there was probably something that has been instructed. I mean, Chris Kleiman knows Jeff Monken very well. It's the other side of the ball, but Matt Wells knows Jeff Monken very well. Every single coaching staff member besides Steve Stannard was on the coaching staff in 2019 and probably remembered that Navy play pretty well. At some point, it doesn't matter how often you harp on something, if they don't do it, it's kind of on them. And I feel like that's got to be something that was brought up. It might not look like it was, but I can guarantee that it probably was.
Yeah, which then again, like, that's where in college sports it comes back on the coach and it's on you. You brought these players onto this team. So if what you tell them or coach them can't get through, yes, that's a player problem, but at the end of the day, that's a you problem. And when it gets to be as bad as it is for K-State right now, it isn't one of those where you can just go, okay, that's a this team thing. That'd be great, but K-State's 1-2 should be 0-3 with two very embarrassing losses on their resume right here. I mean, the North Dakota game, that is a loss. Like, I don't care if Chris Kleiman says football is football 50,000 times. You guys look like trash against North Dakota. You should not take any glee from what happened in that game. I like that win. That win is more damning than the loss to Iowa State or Army in my books. Like, you come out of it and go, boy, thank goodness they didn't get embarrassed because they actually won the game. But at the end of the day, like, that's a far more embarrassing performance than losing by a field goal to Army, who is going to, do some things and at some point sneak one out on you.
The defense has been really bad for the last 10 quarters. Like, I don't know.
They haven't played a good half without the aid of a downpour.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They got, and like, what is even more frustrating again is like the end of the half against Army in the first half, like, really gets skewed by that last possession. That would have been their best half of football, but they did something so bad and so inexcusable that, like, you go back again to just getting aided by the downpour in Dublin as their best half. Like, you can't allow a triple option team to go and run a 2-minute drill on you and do it in like 16 plays the way that they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a great time right now for anything.
The good news, if you want some good news, is that I don't think that you would see Arizona just kind of bleed it out like Army did. If there's a break, Arizona's going to score.
Here's the bad news is that I thought that it might be a gift to this team, at least through the first part of that first half and beyond. Even I thought they could still get things locked down at some point. That it was kind of a gift that they didn't have to face a team that was going to throw the ball, because I'm still more worried about the secondary and all that stuff. Like Noah Fafita, I don't think he's very good, despite what Chris Kleiman says. But they're going to let him probably throw it a bunch on Friday night, and K-State hasn't shown anything to make you think that they're going to be capable of stopping something like that right now. Like you had the team that, even with their struggles last year, you could put an end to it last season. Like, you're kind of going to this just hoping, if you're a K-State fan, that Noah Fafita is going to be wildly inaccurate and he's going to throw a lot of balls over the head of his receivers, as look like Caleb Williams out there last night, instead of, if he's completing passes. I've got zero faith or expectation that this secondary is going to put a stop to anything, and Arizona might put up 38, 40 points in this game.
They have been throwing it all over the yard in the first two games, which is a little concerning. They haven't really been able to run the ball like super effectively. They did against Hawaii, but for some reason could not against Weber State. So that's kind of weird to figure out. Arizona also plays 11 receivers, so that's fun.
Yeah.
They have another big play threat, though. Like, they found another Tedero McMillan kind of guy.
Trey Spivey?
He did score against Weber State.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love that we've seen people bitch about Nico Grammatica at South Florida and now Trey Spivey at Arizona. And you think to yourself and you go, you know what the two biggest positions I wouldn't gripe about at K-State this year are to this point?
Kicker and receiver.
Kicker and receiver, because you've gotten better production there than you could have anticipated, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're missing not having Nico Grammatica or Trey Spivey. I think what you're missing is literally a soul on defense that wants to step up and do something good.
Also, Nico Grammatica, like, I get it. He made the field goal to beat Florida
from 20 yards out.
Yeah, but I was about to say, if you're a college kicker and the ball is at like the 3-yard line, you're kicking an extra point to win the game. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, what an unbelievable kick.
It's not a given for Harrison Bucker. Even NFL kickers can't guarantee those extra points, Drew.
Well, extra point in the NFL is a lot longer than it is in college.
Well, you're a professional. You should be better, kicking them. That's.
I don't disagree with you.
The talent divide there, it should even out.
But then, like, Trey Spivey, it's like, okay, so he'd be like the 4th or 5th receiver at K-State again. He's already like the 5th or 6th receiver at Arizona.
Yeah, Trey Spivey, 2 catches, 37 yards this season. You know who has more than that?
Adonis Moise.
I was just going to rattle off. Let's see.
That was actually kind of a guess.
Jerron Bradley, Jerron Tibbs. No, but same amount of catches for Adonis and Trey Spivey. Just a few more yards for Spivey.
Garrett Oakley has more yards than Trey Spivey.
Yeah.
You said 37?
Yeah. Will Swanson has more receiving yards.
Does Joe Jackson?
No, Joe Jackson. You probably would take Trey Spivey's hands over that, because Joe Jackson did turn a pass into an interception to lose the game on Saturday night. Braden Lofton would be the next guy to be in the neighborhood. He's got 31 yards this season.
He would have the 6th most receiving yards on K-State?
Yep.
I would not be complaining about anything that a receiver or a kicker has done at K-State, at least for now. But, like, I feel like I'm totally jinxing Luis Rodriguez when I say this, but, like, none of his kicks have even looked like close to missing.
Here's what's going to happen for you, Drew. It's Friday night. K-State's actually going to, well, I'm not going to say that they've played well because it's a close game with Arizona late, but it's 38-38 or something, and Luis is sent out there for the game winner, and he misses it. And then you go into overtime. Arizona gets the ball first. They score a touchdown. They're up 45-38.
And then Luis misses
first play. Avery drills Jace Brown for 25 yards for a touchdown, and then he misses the extra point. And you're just like, how can things get worse for this team? And you realize that it's because Drew on a Tuesday jinxed Luis Rodriguez.
That would be how it would go for this team. But I have full confidence in Luis Rodriguez after the first 3 games. And really the last 2, because we actually saw him kick field goals instead of just extra points. And then all the receivers, like, there's a lot of discourse about the Jerron Tibbs play and if that should be ruled as a drop or not. I lean towards it maybe being a drop, but like if Tibbs makes that catch, that's one of the better catches by a K-State receiver in a while.
I think given the moment and the situation, and again, it's a lot, and I know they're getting hit hard and everything.
And the guy's helmet came down on the ball.
When throws are made to that level in that moment, I think Tibbs and Brown need to make those catches on the last drive. And the other one that I would throw into that category is you would like Braden Lofton to come down with the one in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But
it's a hard thing to go back on and say, but like, you know, other guys are being expected at times to step up and make plays. It might be difficult. You haven't felt like you've gotten that one yet from
you haven't gotten a crazy catch that counted yet. I'm still fuming about the Jerron Bradley non-catch.
Well, good thing that it didn't count as a catch because, you know, Tibbs, if they had called that a touchdown earlier in the game, they probably are calling that a fumble for Tibbs later on.
Yeah, that's true. But like, if you're a receiver and you catch the ball and you are falling and you're 4 yards into the end zone, how is that not a catch?
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Like, what are we doing here? If you can take 3 steps and as you're falling, you hit the ground. When you hit the ground, the ball pops out, and that's incomplete. Like, why are we even playing football at that point?
Yeah. All right. We'll close up shop here with a quick round of Beat the Media Guide. I started this off by saying that K-State has no interceptions through 3 games. The only other time that has happened in the last 20 seasons is 2015. So, Drew, can you give me, going back to 2005, the first game of the season where K-State recorded an interception?
This is a very you question. Okay.
This is more schedule knowledge than anything because, you know, there might be a little guessing that goes on in here. But
do I have to like start and do this in order?
No, you don't have to do it in order.
Okay, 21 was Stanford.
Yep, good guess.
22. Do you have these just lined up? Is this in the media guide or is this just a Mason fact?
You're more so beating Mason's research today. Because I did research to set the prompt for question of the week in this show that we just did.
Okay, so 22. Did they have one against South Dakota in 22?
Because of the speed of the game, I will just tell you yes and give you credit for a correct answer there. Yeah, okay. They had one against South Dakota.
23. I think they had one against SEMO.
They did not.
When was 23's?
Game 2 against Troy.
I forgot that they even played Troy.
John Summerall, toast of the town right now.
2020. Oh God. Did they get one against Arkansas State or was it Oklahoma?
I think they might have had 2 against Arkansas State.
Nice.
So they had at least one. They played a couple of different quarterbacks in that game, but yeah.
2019 just feels like a Nichols.
Yep, they did it against Nichols.
2018, I think also was South Dakota.
Didn't get one in that game. They got it in game 2 against Mississippi State.
Oh yeah, Wyatt Hubert had one in that game.
Might surprise you that K-State found a way to do it in that game, given how they played.
17. This is where we get kind of fuzzy again. Was 17 an FCS game?
Yes.
Was that Central Arkansas?
Yes, it was.
Okay, 16. I'm also going to say South Dakota.
No, that would be wrong. It was Florida Atlantic.
Oh, that's another game that I kind of forgot that K-State even played.
Yeah.
2015 was Oklahoma State.
2015 was Oklahoma State. That was like your free space on the bingo board right there. Since we had mentioned already, that was game 4.
Was 2014 also the FCS game?
It was not.
2014 was, let me think of some games that K-State played in 2014 of the non-con. This is such an absurd question that you're having me answer.
Well, you're already on the wrong line of thinking for 2014. If you're looking
then it was 2014 the Iowa State game.
Yep, game 2 against Iowa State.
Okay, 2013. I still haven't done last year, but that's a problem for another day.
Okay.
2013, I'm going to say, is when they played Louisiana.
Oof. You should have just gone off the top. Brock Jensen threw one in the North Dakota State game.
Wow, I felt like they played like a complete game.
And that's just how bad K-State was there, that North Dakota State wasn't even flawless and they couldn't beat them.
12 was probably Missouri State.
It was Missouri State.
2011 was probably Eastern Kentucky because Nigel Malone had one of the first, I think, 4 games of that season.
It was. Yep, it was Eastern Kentucky.
Okay, it's 2010.
There were 2 picks in the Eastern Kentucky game.
2010, we watched this UCLA game, and I don't think that they threw a pick. So I'm going to say that it was Missouri State.
Oh, how quick you're to forget that Kevin Prince threw 2 picks in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 2009 probably had to be UMass.
It was UMass.
Now that I see a schedule for some of these years, I'm like, okay, it's like one of these two. 2008, North Texas.
Nope, it was Montana State. You're looking at schedules right now?
Well,
I would call that cheating.
Is it really cheating if I don't see a box score and I'm just...
Well, if you know that only one of these games in the last 20 years, it didn't happen in the first 3 games, you have a 33.3333% chance of getting it right.
But sometimes I'm not. See, looking at the schedule doesn't.
All right. Well, you got four years left to guess anyway, so just finish it off with your cheating ways.
Well, if I did this just off the top of my head, we'd be doing this for like an hour, thinking back to some of these years of who they even played. 2007, I'm going to say San Jose State instead of Auburn.
Nope, it was Auburn.
Wow.
Auburn threw a couple in that game, I think.
2006 just feels like it would be Illinois State, but it's probably Florida Atlantic.
Should have stuck with Illinois State. It was Illinois State.
Of course. 2005, we're going to say that it was FIU.
It was FIU. Okay, so let's see. To this point in time, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wrong guesses of the ones that are out there.
Oh, and I still need to do last year. And last year, I think that UT Martin threw one.
Oof. No.
Oh, it was Tulane?
It was Tulane. So you get 11 correct, 8 wrong. Yeah, it was Tulane.
See, and I was like, that's why you say, oh, you got a 33% chance of getting it right. I was looking at a schedule and still barely got 50%.
Yeah, also, oddly enough, none of these seasons did the first pick happen in game 3. So it was 1, 2,
or nothing,
or 4. I don't know. I'd have to go back further and look, but yeah, the first pick of the season last year was VJ Payne in the end zone to win the game.
Wow.
So there you go.
Yeah. When you said something about interceptions, I thought that this was going to be like interceptions in a season or something of that nature. No, this was very tough. This was our toughest one that we've done so far.
Yeah, this was kind of an odd one. But this was more about trying to remember and guess who they played more than anything. And then it's just like, maybe they had a pick in this game unless you could specifically remember it. But yeah, that was the point of this one. So they can't all be easy.
Kevin Prince throwing 2 in 2009 in a game that we watched. That's a killer that I forgot about that.
Drew, do you want to take a guess right now? When is the first game of the season that K-State gets a pick this year?
Why not? Friday night. Lock it in.
Okay.
I don't know who. Maybe it has to be a defensive lineman.
No, I want you to give me who.
I'm going to say, gonna say it's gonna be Desmond Purnell.
Okay, that was going to be my guess because he said to us at media day he wanted to make bigger plays this year and have more forced fumbles, but I think he gets an interception. Something weird happens, and it's either thrown right to him or it's batted around, and he ends up with it. So, all right, well, I don't know if this was going to bring anybody optimism or feel any better, but we at least didn't spend all of the time talking about the negatives right now. Happy thoughts. Think about the pick. See if K-State actually takes the ball away. And if they do that, I think they probably, I don't want to speak for everybody else. I think if K-State gets an interception on Friday, I think they win the game. If they don't pick the ball off, I think they lose. So I think it comes down to that.
I think that if they win the turnover battle, they win the game because they've also turned the ball over in every game, but they haven't forced a turnover in every game.
Yeah, well, true. Hang on to your balls, folks. That's what K-State's trying to do right now. We'll see if they do it on Saturday. And more importantly, it's taking away your opponent's ball when they have it because the interception thing. I think that's maybe the most electric play in football is the interception that you could get on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Gets the crowd juiced, breaks the back of opposing crowds
outside of like a kick/punt return. Yes.
Well, yeah,
but a pick is like supposed to be more common.
Yeah, well, and you return a kick, then your defense is on the field again, and it's just another excuse you can use. So, all right, we'll get out of here. We'll talk more K-State tomorrow. We'll see how that goes, and then DY and I will have the preview show on Thursday, Friday, post-game, as always. For Drew Galloway, I'm Mason Voth. Thanks for watching and listening to K-State Online.